Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Moltar, representing the 51st Bisons, and the Carrier Wing 8, Billy Wah, Merlin here, Mustache Man himself, is here as my co-host. So how's everybody doing this afternoon? We have a couple of awesome matches coming. Again, not sure what part of the world you're in, what time it is there, but 1500 Zulu, so right now, 104th versus inSky. And Billy and I were just talking during the intermission here about how we have huge amounts of patience coming out of inSky versus exponential amounts of aggression coming from 104th. So, Billy, how do you think this is going to shape up, given how both of these teams fly and how very differently their strategies are coming into this?
Well, as we've all seen with teams like, inSky and CNF and some of the other Chinese teams, they have a very similar, I think we've noted several times these guys practice and fly together, so there's a lot of similarities between their tactics. And they run that 3 up, 3 back, and it certainly provides for this interesting layout and formation tactics, if you will. And then on the other side, you have 104th, and they tend to run a little bit different of a formation, but there's a lot more aggression as far as, what they bring to the table versus someone like, inSky, with the amount of patience they have. And I think it's going to be interesting to see what 104th does to get in there, break that up, and get inSky out of what they normally do, because I think that's going to be the key to their success today, is making sure inSky can't set up and get that system going that they normally like to run.
Well, and if we look back at what happened last week with inSky versus 51st, their patience in round 1 of that matchup really wore 51st down, and they weren't able to contend with what inSky was bringing to the table. However, they were able to change tactics and be way more aggressive, and it seemed like that change in aggression and that move towards, just balls to the wall, we're going to fly at you, that happened during round 2 of the inSky versus 51st matchup really put inSky on the back foot. And I talked to a couple of the inSky guys, and they said, hey, we really should have changed our tactics, and it's going to be interesting to see if during this match, because we all know that 104th is typically very aggressive, if they're going to change tactics going into this, and if they do, if it's going to benefit them and in being able to pull this out in the end and come out on top.
Indeed. I think, like I said, key to success today for each is going to be, sticking to what you do and doing it well, because I think that in itself is going to provide, whichever one of those teams does their thing better, I think is going to have the advantage over one another today. As far as 104th, with the aggression, I think that controlled aggression tends to be their biggest weapon, and when they can, circle the wagons when things don't necessarily go their way to start out, I think we've seen them have enough resiliency to be able to pull through. So I'm excited to see what they bring this morning.
Just giving the spool and taxi command here to both teams. Again, guys, it's going to be out of Sochi and Kataisi like it's been for the entire tournament. And real quick, I said this earlier in chat, but I think we've gotten plenty more people joining up. All of the music that you're going to hear during this matchup between 104th and inSky is going to be from their Heapler album for the Tomcat. So keep that in mind, that all of the music, even what's on right now, this doesn't include what was going on during the stream starting scene, but starting right now during this scene, this is all music coming from the Heapler album. So hopefully you guys enjoy it. I know I've enjoyed it. It's an awesome piece of work. They put a ton of effort into this, and it is fantastic. So enjoy it. I know we can't really boost the volume too loud, but I think it fits both the Tomcat, DCS World, and this event really, really well.
I would definitely agree with that. That's certainly going to make for a nice background soundtrack today.
So in saying that, let's go ahead and jump into this. We've got 104th in their typical F-15 Singleton Su-27 coming out of Stooge. And then if we look at the lineups here, while I change PCs, if we look at the inSky lineup, It's actually the same thing. It's 5 F-15s and a Singleton J-11. So it's a complete mirror. We've got primarily F-15s with Singleton flankers coming from both teams. So the flanker on inSky is piloted by 163, and the flanker piloted by the 104th side is coming from Stooge. So to go through the full lineups, we have 825, 552, 1823, 1821, 163, and 1155 coming from the inSky side. And from 104th, we have Stooge, Mustang, Mogas. Holy shit, Iron Mike is actually flying. So this is...
Wow.
We haven't seen him fly. I haven't seen him fly in a match in a long time. So holy crap, the man himself, who we'll be talking to after the finals match, is flying in this matchup. Iron Mike, Blaze, and Fallen representing the 104th side. So I'm shocked to see him flying. I know he's a great pilot. I just haven't seen him fly really since SATAC of last year. So we'll have to see how he's actually able to do. And guys, again, I got to reiterate, it says it in the stream title, but we're on a 5-minute delay. It's finals day, and we want to remove anybody's ability to, you know, accuse the opposition of cheating or screen sniping or any of that stuff. So if you've got a question, I will answer it in chat, and Billy will too. Just know that it's going to take a few minutes for you to be able to hear our response. So Billy, back into the match now that we've got all that out of the way. What do you think is going to happen during today's matchup? Do you think absolute patience or exponential aggression is going to win the day?
Well, I think we're going to get a good idea of that at that initial merge. What takes place there? Does 104th, you know, come in, turn cold, and kind of put out those initial warning shots, or do we see them kind of pushing through and be aggressive out the gate there? That, I think, will be a good indicator of as to what exactly, you know, type of first round we're going to have here in match 1 today. I tend to think that inSky is going to do their best to not allow them to get into a position to do that. So curious to see how they approach things out the gate, because I think that's going to be one of the, you know, it's one of the things I'm not quite sure exactly how they are going to approach this, just based upon how aggressive I think they normally know 104th is.
Well, and I'm going to base this on how the past matches have gone. So we've seen how inSky responded to aggression last week with 51st. We've seen how 104th responds to aggression with SF, and neither of these teams, in my honest opinion, did too horribly well dealing with that aggression. SF last week when they flew against 104th was hugely aggressive, and 51st when they flew against inSky last week after round 1 was hugely aggressive, and both of these teams kind of folded under. So I want to see, and I'm anxious to see, how both of these teams, like I said earlier, are able to rectify or reincarnate themselves with dealing with the aggression. Are we going to see inSky themselves, the embodiment of patience, come out and bring a really balls to the wall and aggressive approach towards 104th? And or are we going to see 104th continue the onslaught but make it more in a structured manner? Is Iron Mike, the leader of 104th, going to be able to corral the troops and keep them in shape, maintain the structure when they fly against inSky going in here? So to recap, we got a lot of bits coming in, so we're going to talk about the follows and stuff real quick. TacView, Mohawk, CZ, Sierra 20, thanks for the follows. Nightwolf and I Do Molly, thank you for the follows. Yaga drops a single bit. Yaga is already making it hail this week, and then drops another 5 bits, then drops another Singleton. God, you guys in the Canadian hail, you guys are on top of it. Bullet drops a single bit and says stash. So really, they just look past me, and they're just captivated by your stash going into this, Billy, as you really groom
just
yourself.
Mustache, guys.
And then Yaga brings the hailstorm and drops 100 bits.
There we go.
So inSky says, wait a second on the departure, and Stooge says they need another minute. So it's going to be just a few minutes before we get this match underway. Both teams have taxied, and I'm really excited for this one. I say this every week, but I don't know how this is going to turn out. And Billy, you're the man, the statistician, We've talked about this numerous times. Do you think one of these airfields has an advantage?
Well, great minds think alike, because this is exactly what I was right about to bring up. And I was going to ask you, I'm remiss of what airfield I believe came out of things on top last week. I believe it was Kutaisi, but I'm not positive. I think it was...
I think you're just spewing garbage.
I think it just took a majority of the matches last week. So I'm going to say Sochi today is going to be the airfield that sees the most winners.
Your educated guess from the broadcaster's point of view is Sochi is going to win the day.
Absolutely. That's a correct statement right there.
And that's the fights on. So we've given the go in the final week of SATAL 2018. It has been 40 weeks of awesomeness, of no fucks given awesomeness. And this is the final day. And the fight's on for the runners-up match. It is officially on like Donkey Kong.
Indeed it is. 2 teams enter, 1 team leaves. Here we go.
2 teams enter, 1 team leaves? Oh, you're talking about just this match. Okay. I was like, we're talking about... I'm just acting like an idiot here. Just ignore me.
Worry. All right. I'm curious to see how these 2 J11s are going to factor in. Usually they tend to be around at the end. That's generally the way it goes with those.
You know, that's a good point. Is the data link today going to win the day?
I think we tend to see the guys in these situations that are in the lone J11s or the lone SUs, they tend to sit back, and I think that's partially, these teams maybe position those guys a little further back so they do have that better perspective on the battlefield and can relay information a little bit quicker, right there in the moment, as opposed to the GCI.
Well, I have to disagree with you there slightly, because Stooge, as we saw last week, was almost leading the charge for the 104th side.
That's a fair point.
And I was flying against inSky, so I can't really say what exactly the inSky J11 was doing.
Well, I just think from a, tactics perspective, the information you get on that data links, is pretty tough to beat. I mean, you can really see a lot of the battlefield and know what's going on right there in the moment as you're kind of coming in with everybody.
So we do see Iron Mike leading the charge for the 104th side. And again, I've said this a couple times, I'm shocked that he's flying. I haven't seen him all SATAL. He was in here talking to us before the match. This is the man, the myth, the legend is flying with the 104th. And I'm kind of at a loss for words because he hasn't been in here. And I'm not trying, Chad, I'm not trying to, float anybody's boat or whatever. I just didn't expect him to be flying. So this is, he's taking that challenge head on, which I'd like to see.
It's been a pretty consistent squad coming out of 104th too, so it's interesting to see the mix-up today as well.
Yeah, it has. And Bullet is starting off strong, dropping the 104th bits.
There we go.
104 bits to cheer on 104th. Is the battle of the bits going to commence again during this stream?
We had some hefty wagering via the bits medium last week. That's for sure.
We did. And guys, I'd like you to know that if you throw enough bits at me, I can just turn the server off and just declare one of these guys a winner.
We can be bought, folks.
No, I won't do that. I won't do that. I cannot be bribed. I'm a man of justice and purity.
Indeed.
So just watching these guys depart. inSky typically in the past has been a little more less structured going in here, and they're much closer grouped off their departure here at Kutaisi. They've already broken up into what looks to be 3-2 ships. Are we going to see their patented, tried and true method of 2-3 ship walls as they ingress in here towards Takumi, which is the bullseye? Are we going to see that? I have no idea.
I think it's almost a certainty that we will. They usually like to stay tight, and then they do that nice, pretty organized, choreographed breakout from the formation into that. So I'm assuming that's what we're going to see here. 104th circled the 2 flight back, I think, to get a little space, and now they're pushing out south towards Feet Wet, and it looks like that's the middle 2, and then the other 2 flights are staying rather separated, pushing up along the coast towards where the main group of inSky is headed. So I'm curious what we're going to see out of Fallen and Stooge here as they push out Feet Wet.
Well, let's talk about what we saw out of 104th last week and what they may see here. Do we think that they're going to employ the tactics that they used last week? Judging by what it looks like is going down on the map, it looks like they're going to take what they did last week in round 1 and apply it again here during this round 1 as they depart from Sochi, where they had two ships leading the way and then the trail of another 2 ships about 30 to 40 kilometers in the back. So it is about 33 kilometers. So do you think that we're going to see the same type of...
Well, I think what the key here is when you're playing a team like inSky is you got to get at least a 2-pair offset from the center of that wall. That they at least have to feel that flanking pressure, because it's going to cause them to divert and do something different. So I think it looks like what we're seeing here is possibly a tactic of that nature, where they're going to send a 2-flight a little wider out to try to just draw them apart and maybe separate 2 of those fighters from the main group. I think, like I said, keeping them off that game, I think, is going to be key. But you brought it before. We may not see inSky do that. There's a possibility that they can mix it up, and I think it's going to be in their best interest right now to do that, just based upon what we're about to see from 104th.
Well, I think what's going to happen here is 104th wants to break up inSky's shape. They want to try and break up their 2-3 ship walls, if indeed that is what they come in on. What inSky wants to do, their game plan, in my opinion, is they want to maintain that shape, because for them, they fly best when that shape is continued throughout the duration of the match, like we saw during round 1 against 51st. When they maintained that shape during round 1 and they didn't break down, they slaughtered the 51st during that round.
Indeed.
However, during round 2 and round 3, when 51st was really aggressive, their shape broke down and they weren't able to maintain their composure going into the late game of each one of those rounds. So here again, I think 104's idea, if they are indeed hugely aggressive, is to break up inSky's shape. Well, on the flip side of that coin, if inSky does maintain that we're going to fly hugely patiently and very defensive, they want to maintain that shape to provide awesome situational awareness and mutual support to their wingmen as the match continues. And if they are able to maintain that shape throughout the duration of all these rounds, it's just that much easier to provide that support, maintain the situational awareness and all of that. But if 104th is able to get in here and break it all down and make the shit hit the fan for them, that's when 104th is going to have the advantage. Because I think inSky has the advantage if they're able to maintain shape, play as a team. 104th has the advantage if they break it down and fly more as a 2-ship or singletons, because I think that's where they excel.
I would definitely agree with that, and it looks like we just observed inSky split in that choreographed manner, so they're doing their thing. 104th definitely looks like they're on path for similar tactics to what we saw last week, so I hope they run these 4 straight through that wall here and we get ourselves an old-fashioned mix-up. I think that's hopefully what we're about to see. And now we have the back wall of inSky beginning to separate and take shape.
Yep. So we are indeed seeing exactly what we saw from inSky last week, and we're seeing what we think is the same thing coming out of 104th. Now, something else that I would really like to point out is that 104th has made this very clearly a feet-wet fight. Like, they are very clearly trying to drag inSky out over the water. And if we again use last week as an example, I don't think that's exactly what inSky wants to do. They like the mountains. They like to be flying low as the fight progresses. And we'll have to see if are they going to fight 104th where 104th deems the fight to be taking place, or are they going to try as the match goes on to drag this more and more northeast to get this over the mountains. So,
as they're about to meet here, I think we need to keep a good eye on where that front line, if you will, kind of moves and how it gets pushed and pulled back and forth here, because whoever controls the push on that front line, I think, has the advantage in the match. So I think we need to keep a strong eye on that.
So we're down to under 40 kilometers. So the grinder, the fight, the epicness is about to commence.
Here we go. Aim 9 out of inSky 1821.
Yeah, that's an unusual
Yeah.
That's kind of strange, but it may be that inSky recognizes that 104th is going to be aggressive, so they're trying to take and make those sneaky aim 9 shots. If 104th doesn't, turn off and egress away from the action area, that they're just going to eat it in the face.
Make them respect that distance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think, very, very keen of observation there, why that 9 would have been fired out, to try to take advantage of that aggression early on and see if you can't catch him sleeping on that. But unfortunately, Iron Mike, too smart for that one. I think he caught that aim 9 come off the rail and extended cold there pretty quick.
Now, something interesting that I would like to point out as we look at this is Stooge from 104th. Stooge is taking all 77s and two ETs. He has no ERs. None. Which is very interesting in my humble opinion. It is... I would have thought, ERs over the 77 are the better way to go, but Stooge may be looking to say, hey, I'm trying to take this into the merge. But if we look at... who was that? If we look at 163, who's the J11 pilot for the opposite side on inSky, he has no 77s. He's 2 ETs and 4 ERs. So here we're seeing some difference in payloads coming from the flankers. Now, do you mind looking at what inSky has on their F-15s?
I'm one step ahead of you right now.
Because I have a sneaky suspicion that they are not taking AIM 7s.
It looks like 925 has 2 on the body.
He does?
He does.
He does?
Yeah, and then...
I see all 120. Never mind.
I thought I saw the big thing.
No, he's got him. You're right.
Yeah, it's 1155 has 2.
Separation now for the second run here is going to be under 30 kilometers, so we're already getting decently close. But what I like here is 104th is committing together. They're committing as a 4-ship coming in here while it looks like inSky's shape is already kind of starting to break down.
Indeed, they kept their extend pretty short. Curious what they ended up getting for altitude on that. It did look like, look at that, 30,000. Although Stooge might be trying to sneak in low. He's on the deck there, 300 feet right now.
It does indeed look like what he's trying to do. He has some serious altitude separation between him and Mogas. Is Mogas marking? Mogas is marking.
He's marking, yes he is.
The idea here, and this is just what I'm gleaning from what's going on here, I think is that they're taking these high bandits, they're trying to get, hey, I'm up here, I'm marking, look at me. And then they've got Stooge here, really low at 70 meters, who they're going to try, I can assume, to get in there unseen and launch a sneaky 77 as he gets in close. And then he's able to egress out without supporting the missile using that 77. But to make the 77 effective, you got to be inside 10 kilometers, and the bandits got to be hot.
Certainly feels like 104th pressing right now. You got Mogas and Stooge. Look at that shot out from Stooge here now, a 27 ET, which I think is on.
Is that on 1155?
It looks like the trajectory is more for 1820. No, definitely.
No, it's on 1155, but he's already extending. So I don't think the ETs were the right move here, coming from Stooge.
That 120
Nah, he's already out of here, and he's way too fast. He's 1,300 kilometers an hour. There's no way that's going to catch him.
Stooge definitely playing the low game. He's extending now, but still not climbing, staying below, almost at 200 feet right now. Iron Mike around 20,000, pushing back in. Looks like he might be trying to commit with 925, but he's got to watch out for 163 and 552. They're circling around off his left there.
Now, something I would like to point out is we talked about the tactic of Stooge going low. However, the problem with that is that they have a lot of ACC or GCI. So they're out over the water. We have to assume that inSky is going to know Stooge is here. That inSky is going to know given they have a lot ATC guy, and this is just a guesstimation that they do. But we have to assume that they know Stooge is there, because they have this overarching picture coming from the AWACS. And something I also would like to point out is Stooge is so low that when he shoots these ETs, I think it went straight into the water.
Yeah, that
which is unfortunate.
It is. You got to be careful. It needs a decent amount of space to clear the rail and ignite, right?
Looks like inSky has gotten a bit back into their shape, but 552, you're making me a little bit nervous up here. You look to be a little bit separated from the rest of your squadron. Closest hot bandit is 30 kilometers away, and that makes me a little bit nervous going in here, how isolated 552 is. And he's put a 120B out.
Does 104th see him, though?
Well, they definitely do now.
Because that shot is at 100.
It's on Mustang.
So it's on Mustang?
Yeah, it's on Mustang. And I don't really like that shot. That shot, the bandit, when he launched that, was like 15 kilometers away. And from what we've seen in past matches, all the bandit's going to do, the one that you're launching on, is he's just gonna turn cold.
Stooge pressing hot on 1821.
And I think he's got an advantage here. He's really close to being able to get in, but it looks like he got locked up and he's turning cold.
Indeed, yeah, he's pulling out of there because he's certainly not at the advantage coming
Which
into
I like. He's not overextending.
Correct.
He's out here by himself. The closest friendly that he's got is Mustang, who's 20 clicks in front of him. He's not putting himself in a position where his buddies can't support him.
I think safe to say 104th did what they wanted to do out the gate there. They nosed in on the middle of that formation from inSky, and it's been struggling to really take hold since that. And what they're doing, I'm not sure how concerted of an effort from 104th GCI this is, but it seems like they're doing a good job of making sure, or the moment they try to get back into it, somebody seems to be pressing in and breaking that up.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like inSky's been able to press it all.
No,
but this is something that we've seen from them throughout all of their matches. They haven't really pressed until the shape from the other team is broken down, and then they capitalize on the mistakes that the other team makes.
Yeah,
they play a slow game. But something that I am interested in seeing is that inSky looks like they're not nearly as slow as they were last week. They have much more airspeed than they did last week. Last week it was almost like they were playing the long game for fuel, but this week they are much faster, like double the airspeed when they're entering these engagements.
Indeed. I'd like to see them get a little bit more altitude. They're really playing ball around the 10,000 to 15,000 mark, and I think that might be
104th that much higher than them right now?
By about 5,000 feet on average. They're playing around 20, and I think, with the aside from Stooge, obviously the majority of 104th is around 20 in comparison to the inSky at around 10 to 15. So I think even that 6,000 to 7,000 feet difference there could be enough to give that, a 120, the extra speed and momentum it needs to make a kill, right?
Quite possibly, as long as they're high enough and the bandit is low enough. Well, not too low. You want them at like medium altitude or so.
Yeah, interesting. Curious to see.
But look,
now we got a few guys coming in low, 1821 or below 2,000 feet, headed straight onwards.
Look how isolated 1155 and 1823 are down here to the south.
Yeah,
Stooge. No, that's too far. It's too far away to be a worry.
Yeah, you'd like to see Mogas and Fallen really cut the needle here hard and try to push in and maybe force some separation, because now it looks like 925's coming down to make sure his buddies aren't by themselves down here.
Yeah, so what I'd like to see is Mogas and Fallen act as like wounded birds. They've got a clipped wing or something, and to see Iron Mike and Mustang really drive a wedge in between 1155 and 1823, or even this two ship with the remaining inSky squad. So I'd like them to capitalize on these mistakes. However, as I say that, what I want everybody to know is that we have God's eye. We can see everything. So just because we can see it doesn't necessarily mean that they can see it. So we're making these inferences based on information that we can assume that the teams don't have. So we see a 120B coming off of Iron Mike, 16 kilometers. It's a little too far away from what we've seen in the past. 16 kilometers from 120B, especially with how passive teams have been in SATAL during this tournament. It's just really, in my opinion, a wasted missile.
I really feel like they needed to get those two committed a bit quicker. I think
Which
they're losing that up, the Mogas and Fall, and I think they're losing that opportunity to separate there now. It feels like now we are getting back that. Oh no, shot out at Blaze here, but I don't know if that's going to be it.
No, that's going to run. Well, that's going to run out of energy. He's fine.
Yep.
I mean, he's slow, but it was far enough away that it's not going to be a problem.
And it looks like inSky is on their way to being back in formation for the most part.
They've been decently in formation. However, look how spread out they are north to south.
Yep.
There's like 20 kilometers between this. However, they are paired effectively with the two ship, which I do like. I like that they're not by themselves separated by 20 kilometers. They're at least with somebody else from their team, which I do like.
Never leave your wingman.
Yeah.
Never leave your wingman.
But something I will say, it almost seems like 104th is the more passive from this during this round. It seems like inSky's a little more aggressive.
I want to say it felt like it started out with 104th having a lot of aggression, but over the course of this, it feels like that may have. I've seen now in the last few minutes inSky press more than I've seen 104th.
Stooge is just waiting. He's just lurking for one of these inSky guys to come in high and for them to make a mistake and not see him. And
now,
if they get
Iron Mike,
go ahead.
Circle. It looked like Iron Mike was trying to circle around to cut off where 552 is heading there, but now it looks like he's circling back.
They may just be trying to establish more of a line north to south instead of having everybody on top of each other, and that's kind of what it looks like. They're just trying to establish a north-south line, so they put Iron Mike up here to the north over Sakumi. At least that's a guess.
Yep, I think you're
1823 puts a 120B on Fallen. We can see them. We can see 1823 flaring. However, that split S, I think, is going to trash that missile. Indeed, that missile is dead. But we may see the first merge here. They're getting close. 1155 in Mogas. That 120B is going to have plenty of energy by the time it reaches 1155. 1155, you are in trouble. Is he going to be able to get away from that? Is he going to be able to notch it? He got hit. He got hit. Is he dead? He's dead. He's in the water. That is the first casualty of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Mogas capitalizing on the mistake of 1155, getting in a bit too close, and he pays for it.
Indeed, and now 925 look like he's pushing in for a little revenge there with 1821. Let's see. Nope, actually, he's smartening up and going cold, as it looks like Blaze and 1821 might be headed for a merge here.
Possibly. However, what I would like to see is for this three ship from 104th to play super defensive, and for Mogas and Fallen to commit on 1823 together to capitalize on that numbers advantage. You guys gotta capitalize when you got the advantage. 1821, you gonna defend, you may get that into a notch, but I don't see any chaff. Is he gonna be able to get away from it? I think he got away from it. Yeah, he did. He's good.
Yep. Yeah, he just maneuvered that thing out of energy. That was, from the top view, almost impressive.
We've got an ET coming in on Fallen. Fallen. Missiles out of energy.
And Stooge putting one out on 163.
And 163, that may be a problem. 163 is in a world of trouble as that 77 bears down on him unless he gets that into a notch. And it looks like he got away from it. I think it just didn't have enough energy by the time it reached its target. And Stooge is now sandwiched. Stooge, I know you're low. Couple 77s coming out at 1821. He gets that notch. Oh, he pops one of the inSky guys. Does he know that AIM-9's coming? Drop those flares, more flares.
Wow.
We saw it come right behind him, and he is in trouble.
So is Fallen, too. Fallen's out here in the weeds. He's got a 120B out on him. It looks like he's going to evade. And wow,
here comes another 73. Oh, he does. I think he ripped his wings off.
I didn't see him get struck by anything.
Yeah, I think he ripped his wings off there. That's unfortunate, but I think that's how it went down.
Putting some stress on that airframe. Yeah, I think he juked about 4 or 5 of those
but
things.
But Iron
before,
Mike is bearing down on 163. We can see the missile off the rail. I'm not sure what that is. I'm going to assume that's a 120. No, that's an AIM-9 for how short that thing burned. And 163, does he have the energy to get away from that AIM-9? I think he does.
Opportunity lost. inSky had 2 guys pressing hot on Fallen, and Blaze hadn't even come back around. Oh, here we go. Iron Mike now with an AIM-7 out on 163.
Yeah, we can see it burning. We can see it bearing down. Oh, it got him. I thought it was going to run out of energy, but it didn't. It came right up the pooper.
Oh, there we go. And we got Blaze and 925 exchanging, but those look like they're going to run out. 552 now pressing north to try to chase Iron Mike up.
And Iron Mike playing it smart, extending to the north. And I like what he's doing. He's now coming back to the west, and Blaze is coming in exactly on 552. Yep. We may have a merge between Fallen and 925. 120B out on 925, but I think he's got more than enough energy to get away from that.
It looks like 104th now with that little bit of an advantage, really pressing the nails here. And Blaze has got a 120 on him, and 552 with one with a decent bit of energy still moving.
552, you're just kind of being nonchalant out here with that 120 in the air. But I think he gets away from it. Just over the top. That vertical notch, that vertical maneuver got him.
Now, Iron Mike, on the other hand, still not out of the weeds yet. Blaze has got to get back around here to give him some coverage.
But I think Blaze is in an opportune position. I don't think that AIM-9 coming off the rail from 552 is going to really present Iron Mike with any issues. Fallen puts a 120B in the face of 552. And 552, you're in trouble. And he just flew into the ground.
Yep. Maneuver kill there, and now 925 with Fallen on his 6.
Fallen is all over his ass.
Mustang and 1823 down here by themselves.
And we can see that 120B barreling in. Pops 925. And that's all she wrote for 925. And 1823, wouldn't you know it, the lone man on the totem pole, all by his lonesome, with 504 pilots remaining. I think 1823 is in trouble. What do you think?
Yeah, at this point, I don't. Even if he had enough ordnance, I don't know if he's got the fuel to do what he needs to do to be able to beat off all 5 of these guys.
Did you just tell him to beat off somebody?
Yes, indeed. That was, in fact, exactly what I said.
This isn't that kind of stream, Merlin.
Pardon me.
Ned.
Pardon me. I got confused
there. Get your head out of the gutter.
Ned being Ned.
And inSky, 1823, he's in trouble. He's sandwiched between Fallen and Mustang, and if Blaze recommits here, it's just going to be all she wrote. Yeah, 120B off the rail for Fallen, 120B off the rail for 1823. Both of them turn cold, but 1823 is just, he's got Mustang bearing down on his right flank.
Yeah, he is in trouble.
And Mustang has a ton of energy, 1,400 kilometers an hour as he comes in on the right flank of 1823. That 120B is going to have a shit ton of energy by the time it reaches 1823. I think he's dead. Late chaff, missiles pitbull. You're not going into a notch. Did he get away from it? I think he got away from it. That missile, nope. I say that, and then he just takes it up the pooper. It's like the wet kiss from the toilet when you're on the toilet at 3 a.m. It just comes up and bites you unsuspectingly. And that is all she wrote. 5 pilots remaining for 104th. Commanding victory in round 1 coming from the Phoenix side. Man, oh man. And I see chat saying, poor Stooge. Maybe, but he took somebody down with him. He traded. Which is much better than just going down with a big goose egg, a big 0.
Indeed. Well-fought match for both sides. 104 definitely doing what they needed to pull that off.
But again, it was just, inSky's shape just disintegrated. Once it was gone, that was it. That was all they could do was just get shot down, shot out of the sky.
And Sochi with the win on the first one.
God, I'm never... You're going to come in next year when we do this, and you're going to have a whiteboard. It's going to be like stats with Merlin. And you're just going to be like, guys, this one round, Sochi won this time, and then Kataisi, and it's just north for south, and I don't know. But we can see clearly, given the statistics, that Sochi is coming out on top.
It's going to be like a sports science segment from ESPN where I have all the different, well, follow me to the lab here while I break down why this and why that.
You're going to go out on Newegg, buy a touchscreen, big time, and just break down how everything went out. Say clearly how one side has the advantage over the other, given the airfield they're departing out of, because somebody's mystical ATC out of that airfield gives them some type of advantage.
Yeah, I mean, give me a reason to go buy some gadgets. I'm all about that. Let's make that happen as soon as possible.
I don't know. You're talking about having people beat off, so I don't know anymore. It seems that you need to.
I don't know specifically if that was the point I was trying to make there.
I don't know.
It might have come out that way.
Just watching 104th RTB here back to Sochi. Once one of them touches down, it is a victory for their side. So it's not 1-0 yet. They've got to put wheels down and not blow up in a fiery crash of doom. I don't think they're going to have any problems doing it.
No, I don't think so either. I would assume, just based upon the match time there, that these guys aren't going to have too much of a problem, especially between 5 guys trying to make it back on that. Who did they lose? They lost Stooge?
Yes. Stooge went down in that trade.
That's right.
So let's recap on the follows and the bits and everything that you guys threw at me. MJ Cancer, IRIF Aggressor, Roadmaster 96, Morpheus, XAUT, Northworst NL, Moosey Moose, and Noel Solid, Chibsy, The Camper FX, Gaz IT, IRIF Hunter, Warsong, Survival Gaming, Tuhi Tuxasumu, and NASA 741. Thanks for the follows. And to recap on the bits, Yaga dropped another 51 bits. I'm assuming that was to represent the 51st. DCS Toast dropped 104 bits and says, let's go. Cheering on those 104th Phoenix boys. We're getting lost here. Bullet dropped another 104 bits. Yaga dropped another 104 bits. I think we're all caught up. So thanks for the bits, guys. It just goes back into making this stream that much better for you there at home. Hopefully we're giving you something exciting on your Saturday morning, afternoon, or evening to watch. I know it's exciting for Ned and I, Merlin, to put this on. Hopefully it's as exciting as it is for us as it is for you guys at home.
It's definitely one of the highlights of my week. I look forward to getting on here and watching these guys mix it up. Even before I became a part of this, it was always something I kind of look forward to. Definitely learn a lot. Like I said, for those that are just getting into DCS and not really super familiar with air combat, there's a lot to be learned here. And
there's a lot to think about.
Yeah, indeed there is. And then shout out to one of the sponsors, TacView. I had a decent, op last night with the squadron I fly with. And, afterwards we usually do our debrief in TacView, and just the amount of information that can be gained from really, and I say this every week, but I think it, deserves to be reiterated for people that haven't heard it is, when you do your flights, get in there, check that TacView out, see what you did, and why it happened, and what maybe, I'm often surprised with how close enemy fighters can get without you realizing it. And TacView is a good way to get better awareness of spacing within the environment.
I had somebody had a question about, I think it was Turkey Driver. How do they keep SA so well in the fight? A lot of that just comes down to experience, and a lot of it is just getting used to not staring at your instruments, your radar, your RWR. It's getting your head, your Mark II eyeballs out of the pit and looking out of the cockpit. And this is something that I cannot overstate ever, is that people have a tendency in any of these multiplayer servers to just stare at their instruments. They do it in CAS, they do it in CAP, they do it in all of the modules. And the thing that, in my opinion, that sets the boys apart that fly at a competitive level is they have an ability to get their eyes out of the cockpit and look around. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what provides you that top-level situational awareness to be able to come out on top and be able to compete at a level that these guys do.
And I think to piggyback on what you're saying there, I think, the more experience you get being in these situations and listening to the comms, the more you can listen to what information is coming through your radios and use that to build your SA. That takes a little bit of experience and times over of going into a fight with multiple guys, hearing everybody call out what they're doing and where they are in relativity to yourself. And that really does build that SA and allow you to have this bigger mental picture just based upon hearing and kind of figuring that out as you go in your head.
Yeah, for sure. The more experience you have in these high stress environments, the better you're going to get at it. And the more you work on not relying on your instruments, the better you're going to get at it. And a lot of it, like with anything that happens in this, is it all comes with practice and practicing how you want to fight in a real match. Not that this is life or death in real life, but in a match like this, how you want to practice how you want to fly or play or however. So Turkey Driver, again, just to reiterate, a lot of it's practice, man. It's just thousands of hours that these guys have flying these planes, and you get good.
Yeah, once again, you cannot beat just putting the reps in. Getting up there, doing it, grabbing the sticks and actually flying the plane is, you do it enough, you spend enough time, you focus on, training on the right things, and it adds up over time. There's no doubt about it. But yeah, at the end of the day, you got to put the time in.
This is a pretty sick formation coming from 104th right now.
That. From the top, it looks like one icon.
This is pretty cool.
Stacked very nicely.
They just formed up in this, and they're staying.
They normally do the missing man, right? I believe.
Yeah, they're rocking a missing man right now. It looks like is what's going on. That's for Fallen. I'm pretty sure it's Fallen's dad who passed away. So they've been doing this for the past couple matches. They've been flying. And shout outs to you, Fallen man. We're all here for you if you need anything. Anytime a member of the community runs into a hardship, whether it be them themselves or one of their family members. That's one of the things I like about 104, or not 104, about the DCS community. I like the maturity of the community, how everybody comes together, and it's been great. So again, shout outs to you, Fallen. If you ever need anything. I know you were commenting last night about you using my mod pack for the first time. Glad you got some enjoyment out of that. We're just watching Stooge, not Stooge, but the 104th boys RTB to Sochi. See if we can view them out of Sochi. Should be able to. They'll be coming in here from feet dry on runway. I think this is 24, so we're going to move down here. I'm assuming this is going to be for an overhead break. So we should be seeing these guys move more into an echelon formation. See if we can see them coming in here. There they are, getting low.
Oh, that's right. And I was asking what happened with Stooge. Stooge ripped his wings off.
Yeah. I don't even think he got hit.
Someone just pointed out, I don't believe we had a single 104 fighter get shot down in that.
And they are making their break for finals right out of this wedge formation, their 5-ship wedge. It looks pretty choreographed. This looks well rehearsed.
Indeed. They are looking rather pretty from above.
Bullet drops one bit and says snuggle. I'm not quite sure where that's coming from. Do you want me to snuggle with you? Are you wanting to snuggle with Merlin's mustache? What are you wanting?
That costs extra. That costs extra. Gonna need a lot more than 1 bit for that one.
Max Power also drops 51 bits and says let's go. I'm assuming that's a shout out for 51st. But
seems like 51st has got themselves quite a bit of fans out there. This is going to be interesting too, coming into the next one.
I'm interested to see how 104th is going to come in on finals for this. How are they going to make this turn?
I do enjoy the showmanship, especially on Championship Saturday.
It's hard to believe that this is the last one.
It is.
This is it.
Well, we take a little break for the holidays, then we're right back at it. Sure, we might find some reasons to throw some interesting little things in along the way. Keep people entertained over the holiday.
We got the guns event coming that we're going to start planning after SATAL completes. We got Persian Incident that the 51st
Correct.
is putting together that should be coming together probably after the holidays. So there's stuff coming. It's just, it's hard to believe that SATAL is coming to a close.
It is. And then, oh yeah, that's right. Tonight we have we're going to be having the carrier landing competition as well. So those sticking around after the finals today. I think 2300 Zulu, we're going to be doing Hook 18, which will be testing, I believe, around 38 naval aviators and their ability to get onto the deck. And we're going to have some LSOs out there grading them and doing all that fun stuff. Should be a good time.
Now, a failed pass from the LSOs just flipping somebody the bird, right?
Pretty much, yes.
In that carrier competition.
It's just saying F it, you know. Which I'm sure we'll have a few of those. Should be a good time tonight just to see how.
I'd be interested to see how many of the guys are going to fly into the deck of the carrier.
Correct. Well, I'll tell you what, we had a little practice session this week, and I was able to watch a little bit of that, and definitely looks like we got some guys that know what they're doing out there. There's a couple guys that I think are still getting their self acclimated to the process, but I think it'll be a good indication of how the DCS community has come as far as figuring out the aspects of trapping on a carrier. So I'm definitely excited to see how people do this evening. And we're giving away some F-14s tonight for that as well, too. So don't forget that.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, one for the viewers and one for the winner. And then second place is a T-shirt sponsored by myself there from the Heapler store.
Well, that'll be cool, guys. Don't forget to check that out. What are you doing on this channel, or are you doing it on your own channel?
I believe I'm going to do it on this channel.
Okay.
That way we keep, the events where the events should be, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. So, guys, that's chalk one up for 104th. They take it to inSky. That was a romping.
It was.
For lack of a better word.
I think you're going to see inSky really need to step it up coming into round 2, because I think 104th's got themselves a hefty dose of momentum after that one. So let's jump back to the talk show here, and I'm going to get the TAC view and stuff set up while we go into this. Awesome. And then I'm actually going to run to the restroom once you get the TAC view up, because I won't be able to comment due to the delay today. Give me, while I'm getting the TAC view up, how do you think that match went? What do you think sent 104th over the top and kind of pushed inSky down to the spiraling to their doom? Well, I think 104th did a very good job of nosing in on that initial formation that inSky put up, and I think they were able to really kind of push them off their game early, as we were, describing before the match, and I think that was one of the stronger points as far as 104th's play. I think we saw, once the match developed into that, I think inSky did a good job of fighting that and attempting to keep their formation as best they could. But I think when it got down to the individual battles, I think we saw inSky just push and maybe overcommit a little bit a few times and got themselves into some rough situations, which credit to 104th for showing a lot of composure out there today. I get the feeling Iron Mike leading point had a lot to do with that. Yeah, you can't understate that enough. Yeah, I definitely think he brought overstate that enough. I'm sorry. Correct. Yeah. I think he, just his presence probably brought a lot of composure to the battlefield today for 104th, and I think you're going to continue to see that. I think that effect will carry over into round 2 and possibly 3. But I think it's really on inSky right now to come out and do something different to prevent 104th from really taking over the second round again. Now the question that I have is, unlike they did last week, are we going to see them change tactics? Are they going to change how they approach this fight? Instead of going in 3-ship walls, or even if they do that, are they going to change their posture for how they come into this? So on that note, let's jump to the TAC view and see how this whole thing went down. And Billy, I will see you back in a few minutes after you hit the head. I'll be right back, everybody. Enjoy. So guys, let's take a look and see what exactly went down here, how this shaped up. So the whole first part of this was pretty slow.
Nothing really happened. Mogas almost, he got pretty close. That 120B got mighty close to coming in on it. It's not quite as close as I thought it was going to be. But a lot of this just came down to the teams kind of feeling each other out, feeling how the other team's going to react to certain situations. And then as the match progressed, it seemed like 104th got more and more aggressive. Stooge kind of led that charge. And then inSky's shape just kind of broke down. So where is that initial engagement with Stooge? Right here. So this is when Stooge gets us a little too deep. And this is them capitalizing the first mistake made by 1821. Right here. 1821 gets isolated. He's in too deep. He's really low. He's 164 feet AGL. Stooge is also very low, 223 feet. Really, all these guys are low. 163 is also low at 889 feet. So, again, this is the first mistake, and 104th capitalizes on it by pouncing on it. So, Stooge is in here trying to capitalize on the mistake. He puts 77s out on 1821. They're both very low. And then he defends. And he does a really good job of defending. Here's a couple aim 9s. He's pretty sure, since he's head on with these guys inside 10 kilometers, inside 5 kilometers, that there's going to be IR missiles coming his way. We can already see him dumping flares, dumping chaff to defend that ER, to defend the IR missiles that he assumes are coming his direction. And he ditches everything. So the chaff, the ER is heavily susceptible to the chaff. The missile, almost immediately as it comes off the rail, loses lock on Stooge. So he's able to get away from that, where I'm assuming he's holding his G limiter so that it's off. And this is him trying to defend these 73s, and I think he's a little too heavy. And during this maneuver right here, when he's defending a bit too hard, and he's pretty fast. No, he's not. He's like Mach 0.8, so he's not too fast, but I think he had a little bit too much fuel. Maybe he accidentally hit the S button. I don't know. He rips his wings off. He doesn't get hit. He just rips his wings off, which is unfortunate. Nothing you can do. But then he's put 163 in a position that Iron Mike can just come down on top of him. And there's no getting away when you're in this position, especially because Iron Mike has the altitude to come down on top of him. Build that into the energy advantage. He's at Mach 1.2, while inSky 163 is at Mach 1, so he's going to get chased down regardless. And this AIM 7, as I'm assuming 163 is trying to defend it, just comes up and pokes him in the butt, and that's all she wrote there. And then Iron Mike is able to regroup. So from this point on, it's really just the shape continually breaking down for inSky, and there's nothing you can do. I think this is where 552 eats this 120. No, he was able to notch it. That was the vertical maneuver. He was able to barely get away from it. So from this point on, it's really just down to them breaking down shape, and that's really it. That first part, that first mistake is really all she wrote. And then it's game over from inSky from that point on. So let's jump back from the talk show. Is there, now that you're back here, Billy, is there anything that you think that inSky should have done going into that to maybe make them or allow them come out on top?
Well, one thing, like we always say about inSky, we see that same formation every time. And you have to think at some point, when does leadership begin to change it up? Because I think it's, and yes, it does work. I think we can both agree it's probably one of the most tested formation tactics in all of SATAL, right? I mean, we see it more than we see anything else. And for the most part, I think when done right, it works pretty well. But I think as we get into the playoffs here, when, a year's worth of matches have been observed by the teams participating, people kind of start to know what your game is. And you're when you're a one-trick pony like that, I think you need to work within yourselves to develop some different stuff, at least out the gate there. Yeah, we all love watching that breakup. It's nice and choreographed and pretty looking, but if that maneuver isn't getting you the results you want, and some can make the point it has for inSky to this point, but you really think the way the last 2 weeks have gone for them, hopefully in the off season they work to develop, just at least have one or two different types of similar tactics that you can fall back on when a team comes out in round one like that. It really kind of shows they got you figured out to a degree. Now, granted, I think some people can certainly make the point that, some of those battles really came down to it, and it was a toss-up in a lot of those situations. So I think, once again, I do think 104th has the momentum coming into round 2, but I wouldn't say,
sure.
inSky is out of this thing by any stretch of the imagination. We could very well be seeing a round 3 here.
And this is exactly what we saw last week, where inSky took the first match against 51st, then 51st was able to come back with a vengeance and take it to inSky and win it 2-1. So are we going to see the opposite of what happened last week with inSky's match and see them come out on top?
Yeah, it's tough to say right now. I'd like to see 104th come out and do exactly what they did, which was, I think, drive the pressure early on.
Now, what do you think? We talked about inSky here. What do you think we're going to see coming out of 104th here? What do they need to do to stay on top of this?
Well, they, once again, they seem to be doing their normal stuff as well, but they are very on point with it today. Like I said, they seem very composed. They seemed very willing to turn and run when they needed to, as far as, not overextending or overcommitting in certain situations. I feel like I saw a lot of, intelligent maneuvering out of 104th on this first round. Keeping that up, I think, is their biggest key to victory.
We're just getting this server back up, guys. We're well on our way for round 2, and I will say, I remembered the scoreboard in the round. Yeah, that happened.
Oh man, it's certainly Championship Saturday, bro.
Oh shit!
Everybody
the first
note.
time the multi remembers the score in the round. This is something the world must be ending.
Well, we got it right on the most important day of the year for SATAL, so that's all that matters, right?
And I think my game crashed because it's a special.
Ruh-roh.
It's special. So we'll reload that. Who do you think the MVP was for that round?
Whew, that's tough to say. I'd almost want to give that to GCI for 104th because it felt like he was wrangling them pretty damn good from up top.
You think so?
I think so. I felt like that was a pretty good effort as far as keeping these guys out of trouble and putting people in positions to win that. I don't know if I saw a single pilot step up, and that's not to say it didn't happen, but it didn't stand out to me enough, at least. Mm-hmm. I think that at least to me seemed like it was a solid effort out of GCI to keep things corralled. But once again, tough for us to know, not hearing those comms. It's we kind of have to speculate on that.
I think Stooge played a big role in that. I think Stooge played a big role in breaking inSky when he got in there and took it to 163. That was just the end of inSky's 3-ship 2-layer wall.
And that's a solid point. He really played the role of bait today, I think, in this whole thing. And we were just maybe discussing him as initially trying to sneak up on people. And you made the point about, GCI being able to see him. Maybe that was the opposite. Maybe he was out there to try to lure those guys away from the altitude they were trying to keep and maybe draw some guys off of what they're doing so the other guys could take advantage of inSky players out of position, which very well could have been the case. And I think we saw him, if that was what he was trying to do, I think he did a good job of it, because we always saw guys kind of going out of what they were trying to do to go after him. And then in several occasions, I think there was at one point he evaded 5 or 6 missiles before he ripped his wings off there. So he drew, I think, 3 planes out of position at least when pulling that off. So I think a lot can be said about that. So that's a solid point for man of the match right there, Stooge. And I think everybody who watches enough knows Stooge is usually always in the running for that title in a round.
Sorry guys, just having some issues bringing the DCS server back up. It wouldn't be a DCS event if that wasn't the case.
Absolutely.
So we're just trying to work all that out. I'm going to send you guys to watch the Heapler trailer real quick, and we will be right back as we get this all ironed out. So bear with us. We'll be back in a couple minutes, and I'll see you guys here in a few. All right, guys, sorry about that. Not entirely sure what happened. I think it was an issue with the server for some reason, but I think we are good to go. So we're going to jump back here into the action. And she looks happy. The server looks like she's not going to throw a bitch fit and start throwing glasses at me from halfway across the room.
She's smiling from here.
She's not supposed to smile at you, Merlin. Stop talking about beating people off and talking about taking my mistress. Just go away. Go away.
Sorry. Oh, man.
And I can see both teams loading in now. Is 104th going to maintain their win streak and shoot Merlin's stats in the shitter by coming out victorious out of Kataisi?
Ooh, that, it's certainly a possibility. But according to my theory, this is going to be inSky's match.
I fucking hate you. I hate you.
I think everybody out there knows there's sound backing to this theory.
The sound backing.
The DCS
there
gods
is
fully
sound,
supported.
scientific evidence.
No, you had it right. Scientifical. That's more accurate for what we're talking about here.
Oh, okay. Just make believe and made up.
Yes.
Kind of like global warming.
Whoa, hot button.
We won't go into that. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Nobody hate me. I was a joke.
Delay on that thing.
That they're going to hear in 5 minutes anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Right. I'm saying it's on the chat.
Oh, man. All right. Let's jump. Change the music here.
Everybody's enjoying that Heat Blur soundtrack from Meteor. I know I have enjoyed what I've heard from it so far, just the little snippets here and there, and that one track that's been out for a while.
Man. It's solid.
I've listened to that thing on repeat enough time.
It embodies the Tomcat.
It really does. They did a very good job putting that together. It's an, I should say I'm not sure if Meteor is a single person or a group, but they did a very good job on that whole thing. It's very, very, fun to listen to, and especially play for those who haven't played to it. It's certainly fun to have on while you're flying and stuff.
Yeah, it is, and it's not a overly aggressive soundtrack. It just, there's some softer stuff, there's some some chill stuff, but there's also some harder tracks to it, and it's just, to me, it's a complete embodiment of everything that the F-14 would do.
Agreed. I'll tell you what, I cannot wait to see the first SATAL match that includes an F-14. I'm sure I'm not alone in that. I mean, I would have to assume the majority of people out there listening to this right now are probably in that same boat. Just the different tactics. I mean, I think next year, you look at the things Jabber's working on, you look at the different events we're going to have. I mean, next year is just going to be this super exciting year for DCS events. And I think, the expansion everybody sees out there is going to provide a whole lot more entertainment and a much wider variety of things, regarding all things DCS. So I hope everybody out there is as excited as I am for that.
Well, and for anybody that's not familiar with what Jabbers is working on, we're looking at getting a live information overlay for SATAL. So if anybody's familiar with the competitive Counter-Strike scene, it's going to be very similar to that. You're going to get live fuel, you're going to get live weapon statistics, you're going to get live gun ammunition remaining. You're going to know what type of plane they're flying. It's just, to us, it's what DCS is missing, or not what DCS is missing, but what SATAL is missing to really propel us to the next level. And I think once we get there, it's going to really throw us to the next level.
I would absolutely agree with that, and just you look at what's on the horizon with DCS in general over the next year or so, and how that's going to affect a lot of the things we do here, and add more variety to what you guys see here on an average Saturday, and I think that's obviously a good thing. The more planes we get into the mix here, the more interesting these fights are going to be, and so on and so forth.
So the teams just got the spool and taxi commands. So this round should be getting going here in just a few minutes. And I have a feeling inSky is going to be a little bit different this round.
You'd like to hope so. I think, it's certainly in their best interest to come out and try to give 104th something they haven't seen yet. Do something a little different. Try to get them off their game. I think at the end of the day, when you look at any two teams going at it like that have fought each other or have enough film on each other to kind of do the requisite study work, you have to be able to bring different looks. You have to be able to give the person who's trying to do the tactics something that he's not ready for. I think that's the core of what you're trying to do there, is confuse the other side, and by having a multitude of different tactics to go from, you expand your ability to do.
Virtual Air Racing Series says, next season I can offer my air racing server rig to have 2 servers up for the teams to rotate on keeping the action moving and for allowing behind-the-scenes troubleshooting. Not a bad idea.
No, not at all.
Send me a message. Maybe we can make something happen. Maybe we can get something rolling. The more help we can get with this, guys, the better this is going to be.
Absolutely.
So while we're waiting for inSky to finish up taxiing, let's recap for any of the follows and everything we've got going. We've got... Where'd that go? Joran SP with the follow. Orin is Lord. Logic Rick. Kolugor 8843. Bioltas. Aperto. Yuvkokes. I always struggle with these names. I'm trying. Iltir. Hawkeye HHDF. Infernal Majesty. And thank you for the follows. And for the bits, we've got Hera Missy dropping 5 bits and says, sorry, but SF will win SATAL with the finish Susie. Well, we'll have to see about that, but thank you for the bits. I'm glad we've got so much patriotism and stuff in here for all the teams. Comey drops 5 and says, we love the Tash man and backwards hat. Man, you guys in your stereotypes. Bullet drops 1 bit, making it hail, and just says, Comey won. Bullet drops another 3 bits and says, I have one too many F-14 modules, which I'm assuming is what the giveaway was going to be for Bullet next.
Bullet's shot me out a message, I believe after this, right around 2000 Zulu, he is going to be doing I believe it's a mission and a giveaway as well. Hopefully I get out of this and I can hop into that. You might be seeing me on there flying with him for that. So definitely keep an eye out there, because I think in total today, you guys have, with the exception of the winner of the contest, the viewers on Twitch today have a chance at winning, I believe, 4 to 5 separate F-14 giveaways going on today, plus some other stuff. So definitely make sure you guys, if you're around today on Twitch and you don't have an F-14 today, stay tuned, because you got some opportunities coming, no doubt.
Driven Wolf says the soundtrack is sweet. And I want to highlight to everybody, because I think we've gotten some new people, all the music today outside of the intro screen, well, not today, during the runners-up match, is Heapler's album that is coming with the Tomcat. So this is really the first time that anybody's been able to listen to it. All of these songs are directly from their album. I know we're going to hear some repeats, but I wanted to highlight how awesome this soundtrack is. And Merlin and I were talking about it just while everybody was loading in. It completely embodies the Tomcat, from just out on patrol, from actual engagements, to just cruising over the Persian Gulf. It is an embodiment of everything that the F-14 does, stands for, and stylizes. So I think it's Heapler and their constituents did an awesome job in bringing this thing to life.
And how many DCS modules have their own soundtrack? I think there's one for the Biggin.
The Biggin has 1 track.
1 track, yes. But, pretty cool that, you actually have a soundtrack you can listen to while you fly the plane. I think that's pretty awesome.
It is beyond awesome.
Indeed.
But Heapler now they've given you visually the F-14 Tomcat, and now they're allowing you to think about the Tomcat all the time by taking it with you on your phone or whatever and listen to it while you're on the go.
I don't know about you, but I'm excited for the first Top Gun remake with that F-14.
We'll have to see how that goes.
Remake on the cinema. That'll be nice. If somebody does a good enough job, we may have to throw a highlight reel or a trailer for that up on here. Because I definitely think that'll be cool to see. We certainly have enough of the parts for it, right?
I think so. We got the MiG-28s.
And the A4 coming too, so you'll have the aggressors from Top Gun and all that stuff.
Do you really think the F4 is coming soon?
I'm sorry, I did it sound like I meant A4, the community mod from from August? Yes.
I probably misheard you.
Yeah, I may have merged that together.
I'm anxious to see how that free module comes out.
Every bit of video I've looked at it, I mean, some may know, I do a little texture work on, DCS module stuff or mod stuff at that point, similar work, and you can definitely see the hard work they put into it. It certainly shows that the textures look really nice, and everything seems to be coming together pretty good with that. I'm excited to get my hands on it, and plus you got the Shrike. It would be nice to have another plane to do a little seed work.
Yeah. The one thing that I'm anxious to see is how it incorporates with the multiplayer environment, the multiplayer ecosystem in DCS, because it's not a paid module. I don't think it's officially licensed by DCS, so how it incorporates itself and how servers are able to incorporate it, if any of the big servers do incorporate it.
Just based upon the integrity check factor, I don't think you'll see that. I think unfortunately that model probably fall to a lot of the groups, the squadrons, the groups out there that do their scenarios and stuff like that. And it definitely adds. I think our group is going to be using it in a trainer capacity, for new recruits and stuff like that. So I think it's definitely going to have its place within the community. Unfortunately, for the bureaucratic reasons, we won't be seeing it in the multiplayer, the Buddy Spike servers or the 104th servers of the world, and it's unfortunate because I definitely think it would bring an interesting look to, especially right now in the current state of DCS, to those servers. So I love to see a way for that type of stuff to happen in the future, but right now I don't know how much of a possibility that is.
So the fight's on. The go-go-go's been given for this round. We can hear inSky spooling. Here, bringing their engine RPMs up, so round two's underway.
Jazzy points out 3 bags for inSky.
Yeah, but that's something that they've always been doing, and I think it's because they typically want to draw this and take this into the late game.
I think the first round, I'm not positive. I only briefly glanced as I was going through and looking at some of the weapon setups early on. I don't think inSky ran 3 in the first round. Maybe I'm wrong. You might be able to correct me.
I'd have to go back and look at it. I'm not really sure.
I don't think they did, and it's interesting to see that they made the choice, if so, to put the 3rd on for this bag. Maybe they felt like they were too conservative on the fuel last time because of the 2 bags.
Maybe.
And maybe they want that to give themselves a little bit more confidence going into some of those engagements, possibly.
But they were much more aggressive than they were in the previous matchup with 51st.
Very true. Very true.
At least when it seemed like when I was flying in that round and guys, I'm not trying to do anything for any of these squadrons. I'm just using this from my experience. When I was flying in that round, it seemed like when I would lock up one of the guys, their airspeed was down to like between 500 and 700 kilometers an hour. So they were really slow. But in the last round, it seemed like they were much faster, 1,100, 1,200 kilometers an hour. And I don't know if it was because the position that the round took place, where 104th really pushed that to take place over feet wet instead of the feet dry, or if it was just because of a change in mindset that inSky was taking going into that engagement.
It's a solid point. Tough to say from this far back, but I think there's, off the top of my head, I think how you describe that is pretty damn accurate, at least from where I sat. So we have 104th seemingly staying a lot more inland than I would probably have expected them to.
Are they?
At least right now. I mean, they're taking a more northerly approach.
They seem okay. They're headed towards feet wet now.
Yeah. And inSky coming from the north, I'm assuming they're going to hug the coast and try to take that feet dry position due north of Bullseye.
104th is already really high at 9,000 meters. 104th is 2 bags, correct? Yes.
Yes, correct. Yeah, they are really holding that altitude. You have to feel like that had to, be a factor in that first round too. When we were discussing that earlier, I don't know if we brought that up enough. It did feel like 104th had, played the altitude game better than inSky in that first round, which had to have factored in a little bit. I think keeping Stooge low and keeping themselves high forced a lot of guys to make decisions they probably didn't want to make.
I'm really just anxious to see how inSky deals with the pressure of being one down.
Yeah, that's a solid point too. That definitely can really halt momentum. A team can be pushing in and really doing well and getting a team on their back. But if one guy makes that mistake and ends up, in the dirt or in the drink, the momentum can really be cut very fast the moment the squad finds out they lost a guy. Guys, I think, start immediately thinking they got to do more than they do when that happens,
right.
And that forces some poor decision making.
Well, and I think what can also happen is that when you lose the first round, you can kind of make decisions in gameplay strategy changes based on things that you may not naturally do as a squadron. So you may think, hey, we can do this stuff to counter them, but it may not be something that you've practiced or flown in with or anything of that nature. So it can really throw you for a loop losing that first round. And I'm really interested to see how inSky deals with that pressure, deals with the contention and morale being impacted by losing the first round.
I would certainly agree with that.
Stevo99 also says he's kind of hyped for the A6. I am too.
I would agree with that too.
But there's still nothing really concrete of whether that's going to be an actual module. We kind of heard snippets and inklings that Keepler was going to throw that our way and it was going to be an official module eventually, but I think that may be a long way off.
Which, rightfully so for them. Look at, they took the right amount of time to work on this F-14, and I don't doubt they would do that with the A6. And
for sure.
I think anybody who wants to see that, you got to let, the cake's got to bake the right amount of time there. I think that's true with any of these things at the end of the day.
Think about the bomb truck that you would have with us being able to take the A6.
Oh man, I mean the images of that thing strapped to the gills with Mark 82s has always been a favorite of mine. Love seeing that. Something
I have to point out though is the Bombcat. I mean, the Tomcat can't be understated with the number of Mark 82s and stuff that it can take.
And it's actually going to be able to conduct air-to-ground operations out of the gate, which will be nice.
Well, supposedly it's going to have everything out of the gate.
Correct. Precision guided munitions and whatnot will be a nice addition to the combat aircraft the majority of us are flying now. I think we all can agree the Hornet, has struggled to get to that point, at least so far in the development. But there's, that's a whole other set of issues in itself. But I think, like you're saying, the heat blur module is definitely going to provide a lot of fun things to do right out the gate.
Well, I think it sets the benchmark for all modules coming after it.
Oh,
for this
100%.
This is how you do it. This is how it is done. And Keepler, huge shout outs to you guys for everything that you've done with the F-14, be it from PR, from the actual module itself to the soundtrack. Everything has been phenomenal. So
excellent communication, no doubt there. They're very good.
Talking about that, I want to do a quick shout out to all of our sponsors. Lot ATC, Dartman, you've made this whole thing possible with us being able to use Lot ATC instead of using the crapshoot that the normal AWACS and GCI from Combined Arms is. Huge shout out for you to provide Lot ATC keys for us to be able to use your software to give a more realistic radar and AWACS viewpoint to our teams. TacView, man, I don't know if you're watching today. You said you might be, but I don't know if you're here. Huge shout outs to you.
They followed earlier.
I saw them follow, but huge shout outs to you for your contributions to the stream for the end of the year prize. First place, SF, clinched 6 advanced TacView licenses. Second place, inSky got 3 since 51st and 104th are ineligible due to their contributions to the event itself. And we've actually got 2 more advanced pro licenses to give away today. And Heapler. Without you, Heapler, massive shout outs to you guys for your contributions of 6 modules for the winners and 6 modules for the runners-up and 500 euros for the winners, and everything that you've contributed to us to make this possible. You guys have been awesome to work with. I really hope we can keep doing this in the future. You guys have been phenomenal. I never thought I would be in a position streaming to be able to work with somebody like Heapler, and it's been a great experience.
Absolutely, and I can certainly echo that. It's, you know, it's cool to come in and talk with these guys each week. Everybody from Heapler is so cool, so down to earth. They're all very friendly people. It's
in the amount of openness and time that they've taken to give to the community to talk about the Tomcat. I mean, they've been on here for 45 minutes to an hour through a lot of these streams, talking about what the Tomcat's going to have to offer, giving modules away. And guys, don't forget, they're coming to do that again after the finals today. And we've got Alex, Iron Mike, coming to join Billy while I depart to fly with the 51st in the finals. So we got a lot of stuff coming. We got a lot of giveaways, a lot of stuff coming, a lot of exciting news and things coming. Heapler always has great stuff to talk about with the Tomcat, great information, and make sure you're here for that after the finals. So it's ways off, but it's always really exciting to have. So first missile off the rails for 1821. It's an aim 7 on Iron Mike, and this fight is underway.
It is, and interesting formation with 3 in the back, and it looked like 2 up front would fallen way wide out as far into the ocean as he was there, and I think that kind of forced inSky to fire and turn there, as they weren't sure whether he was going to try to come around on him. But now we have the front and back lines of inSky now exchanging along, with roughly the same thing going on for 104th. So we'll see whether this next 3 decide to push things tight.
It looks like 104th out of the gate came in with the same approach that they did during round 1. Yep. It was 2 ships leading the way and then a trailing 2 ship in the rear. However, it looks like the shape has changed to the way of 3 ships in the front and a 3 ship in the front and a 3 ship in the rear, effectively mirroring what inSky is doing.
And now 104th Mustang there, after Mogas gets shot on with the 27 ER from 163, Mogas inexplicably just turns split S's and turns cold, along with now 925 countering on that side, where those 2 turn cold without firing. But here now 1823 fires at aim 7 on Stooge, or pretty much just wasted that to get him back.
I think that's just to get him to turn around, like you just said.
Yeah. Interesting. So they're smelling each other, not liking what they're smelling, and turning back now.
That's an interesting analogy.
You know, 2 dogs come up, they give each other a little sniff, turn around, and go reevaluate how they're going to do this.
So they come up, you're saying that the dogs come up and sniff each other and evaluate how they're going to beat the shit out of one another?
Usually that's what they do. They feel each other out, and then they start fighting. Certainly seems to be the case right now.
Yeah. If we're going to make your analogy work. Yes.
Very true.
Yes. So both teams taking a very lax, defensive posture going into this round 2. And I think what's going to end up happening is who's going to capitalize on a mistake first. Much like we saw in round 1 with Stooge capitalizing on the over-aggression and over-separation coming from the inSky side. In round 2, it's going to be the same thing. Who's going to capitalize on the mistake first? And right now, nobody's really made a mistake with an overextension or isolating themselves. It's just who's going to fuck up first, and who's going to see it, and who's going to shove a missile up that mistake's ass.
Indeed, and we have 4 pushing hot from 104th now with
5.
Mogas. 5. No, well, Mogas now starting to commit hot. Yep, and then a shot out from Iron Mike in 1821. But those look like they are just to push each other back. Both now committing cold.
.104th playing very defensive coming in here, but I do like that they are maintaining their altitude, with the exception, I say that, they're not maintaining their altitude. Never mind. Disregard what I said. Fallen is really the only one that's still high. Everybody else is decently low, aside from Mustang.
inSky roughly flying around the 15,000
mark.
I
can't think. 104th is actually very high. I was looking at their speed.
Oh.
Don't listen to me, guys. I need to eat. I'm hungry.
Right on the deck. I don't know why.
What are they doing?
Why are they all so low? But they all are moving pretty damn fast at the moment. Majority of the guys up around 500 knots.
And Fallen does have 3 bags. So we can't say that 104th has 2 bags and the opposite team has 3. That Fallen is rocking 3.
And they both exchange here. White knuckle match here. Who's going to turn out first?
I think they're both going to do it at the same time. Yeah. They're both split S and get away.
Split S, yeah. That'll be a good one on Tacky. And as you can see, pressure's starting to mount a little bit more. Each one hanging in there a little bit longer, trying to get that kill.
925. Where are you going?
Where are you going? Close to cover him on that. But the thing is, Iron Mike, Mogas, and Blaze are all way too far out to do anything. Only Mogas really in position to make a move on. It was almost as if he was trying to chase Stooge and Fallen a little further down.
And really, it's just, we're back into this patience is a virtue kind of thing, where both teams are still just trying to wait, like I said earlier, on the other team to make a mistake. And I thought that mistake was going to be 925, but it looks like he realized that he had overextended and turned cold.
I feel like 104th has split into 2-3 shifts to try to draw this formation apart from inSky, and it feels like it's starting to work right now because I'm really seeing that formation break down and the separation of the 2-3 flights. Like, they're purposely not committing Iron Mike, Mogas, and Blaze, at least it feels like right now, to just try to draw things further apart, at least from the top down. They haven't committed in the last minute or two, at least. They've been circling back down there south of Lacoon.
1821, they're starting to get a little bit closer, and Mustang,
it's as if
he's
they're making
high cover.
inSky come out.
No, he realized that he's in trouble.
It's like they're trying to bait him in.
Yeah, Mustang's really fast in comparison to, well, 925's not too much slower. Mustang, well,
here we go.
Yeah, he is.
Looks like
Mustang's missile is going to have way more energy. See how much faster it's getting there? Granted, this is an AIM 7. But 925 may be in trouble.
And to the point you like to make about those AIM 7s, Mustang had no clue that was an AIM 7.
Right.
He had to break off.
Exactly.
Even though there is no chance that missile
1821. You got any? Oh, there's the fleas, the flares.
And he puts out that desperation 120, which anytime you see a guy fire one as he's breaking,
I get worried.
To maneuver.
I get worried.
You just think it's a waste in a majority of situations. Only rarely, very close, do I feel like that desperation, Mad Dog 120 actually does anything.
Well, it's not just that it's a waste. It's the overcommittance into an engagement. So correct. I worry when you trying to launch that last 120. Oh, 552. What are you doing? You're in a vertical notch. I think he's okay. He stays in that notch. I think he's fine. Oh, he got him. It got him. Man, I thought he was clear for sure, but it actually came in and took him down. So 104th, first blood, taking down.
Making there, just hanging on, just that little extra 2 to 3 seconds there. Cost him his life in this round because he just couldn't maneuver out of the way quick enough. Too much momentum on that.
And a lot of times you see this coming with the ETs where 27's been launched on and they're trying to get in. They're trying to get that ET off the rail and they stay in just a little bit later to try and get that IR launch authorization, and then they wait too long and they're not able to get away from the missile.
Fallen's in trouble.
Yeah, he might be.
1821 pushing on
He's in a
Mustang.
world of trouble, and 1821 has a ton of energy coming into this.
He's moving almost 700 knots right now, and
but he's not being hugely aggressive. I don't think he sees him.
Yeah, he might not. There's a decent altitude disparity.
I don't think he sees him.
This guy's way low. Yeah, Fallen's got the altitude on, and Mustang now trying to get away from that 120, which he will. All right, so 104th now with the man advantage here. I think you're seeing inSky now try to regroup. It looks like they're all pulling cold, at least they're trying to. But this is a good moment right now for Stooge and Iron Mike to really push in here. I think you got inSky a little off their mark. And if they can, 1821 with a shot out on Stooge.
But Stooge is already decently slow. So if he gets the pit bull warning, is this a case of him waiting too long? That 120B's bearing down on him,
over.
and it just missed him. So because Stooge was slow, he was able to execute that turn and get into that notch just fast enough to be able to hold on and get that 77 off on 1821. He was really splitting hairs with that maneuver.
The attack view right there. Yeah, he definitely risked the timing on that one, but came out on top.
But he's in a position where if Fallen and Mustang press against 925 and 1823, he can recommit onto their flank.
And 104 doing a very good job of holding a line here. I mean, look at this formation. They have a nice arced line going around, kind of almost encapsulating the inSky team.
Stooge could be in trouble. That 120B may run him down. That 120B is not on him. It's on Mogas.
Oh, it's on Mogas. He lucked out there. And now Mustang in 1821.
Mogas is going to get away from that. But is 1821 going to get away from this 120? He's trying to get in the notch. He's turning cold. But that missile may have enough energy. We saw it enter the screen. And it does take him down. So there, unfortunately, 1823, it was a case of, or 1821, he was in too deep. The missile was going to have enough energy to run him down. If he turned cold, he should have gotten into a notch. And I'm saying that from a spectator's point of view, but the best tactic there would have been to try and get into a notch instead of trying to extend there. So that's second blood, second casualty going down there for inSky, and 104th is now at a two-man advantage. 925.
I think he was holding on from a 120.
Get into that notch. Don't turn cold. That 120B may run him down.
It's certainly got a lot of momentum still.
No, I think he's going to get away from it. Yeah, he got away from it.
Just barely. Yeah, I think 1821 had just ripped off the 120. He might have been waiting for that pitbull timer before he broke, and just in that may have held on a little too long.
Yeah. But even if you wait a little bit too long, you can't turn cold and run away, because the missile's going to have way more energy than you to run you down. So you've got to instead, if you're in that close, try and get slow, try and get into the notch, which was exactly what Stooge was doing. If we look at Stooge, he's 775 kilometers an hour. He's not trying to get in here fast. He's at a speed where if he needs to get into a notch, he's more than capable of getting into it quickly, which we can see precisely that's what he's doing.
2v2 here in the center with 925, 1823, Blaze and Stooge. They all exchange on each other, I think, except for Stooge. And both look like they're going to run out what was fired here. But now you have 1155 headed in what looks like a matchup with Iron Mike Mogas and Fallen trailing from behind.
What's the altitude disparity here? About the same.
Did we lose a second?
Yeah, we've lost two from inSky.
That's true. Okay. Yep. 1821.
And 1155, it's another case of did you wait too long to get that 120 off the rail? No, I don't know how that missile just missed you. That thing went through your vertical stabilizers. I don't know how he dodged that.
And here we go, folks. They are really popping them off at each other now. Two-man advantage for 104th. inSky now circling, trying to get something together and crack one of these.
And 163, you're not in a notch. There's the 120. And it was just out of energy to turn with him. It couldn't turn with him. It didn't have enough energy to make those G's work. And he was able to get away with it at the last second.
Here's Blaze now putting one on 1155. Is he going to turn quick enough? It looks like
they're getting in close. I don't know. He's turning cold instead of notching. Oh, no. That came out. We saw that enter from the bottom of the screen. And that's a third kill for the 104th side. And I don't know that inSky is going to be able to come back from this one.
No, 925 just narrowly escaped one to the south there. And 1823's put one out on Stooge. It looks like he's going to evade. They really need to get 163 back in with the group here. He's dangling in the wind over Sakoma.
But again, I'd like to point out Stooge's missiles, the missiles that are being put on him, are almost no factor. They're immediately going stupid. And that's because when he's entering these notches, he's really slow. You've got to be slow to notch. So I really want to point out how slow Stooge is when he's ingressing into these fights. And that is a huge compliment to Stooge. He's using his brain, he's ingressing correctly, and he's trashing these missiles, not giving them any chance of taking him down.
I mean, we watched him in that first round. I think he dodged at 1.4 or 5 missiles consecutively.
So missile coming up falling on 925. That is a close 120B.
2 shots.
And this is exactly the opposite cage from 925. He's really fast. And because of that, getting into the notch really isn't going to do anything because you're not slow enough to notch the missile.
And now 163 and 1823 now in trouble with 3 fighters now pressing hot on them. This looks like we're about to see this wrap up here.
6 still remaining for 104th, and this has been just a show of airmanship coming from the 104th side. Notching, not being overly aggressive, capitalizing on extensions, and we can see right here 1860-23. Not sure what hit him. I didn't see that. But he gets pounced on, but I think was a 77 from Stooge, and Stooge puts a 73 out in the face of 163, and I don't think he sees it, don't think he knows it's coming. We can see the missile trail, and no, guys, that is all she wrote for the inSky side in
round 2.
Dominating fashion, 104th without a single casualty, taking it to inSky, just showing him who's boss.
One of the first flawless victories, I think, it may not be the first, but one of the only flawless rounds I think we've seen throughout the playoffs. To credit to 104th, they're really coming out and putting out a display there. That was
very well
impressive.
done.
Smartly, and I think what you just showed with Stooge there, that's we talk about the learning lessons here you can pick up on DCS. That right there for a lot of the newer guys, that the slow maneuvering coming into those notches, that's a valuable little piece of information right there.
Well, I think Blaze is the king of round 3 or round 2, coming in with 3 kills. I didn't really talk about who was shooting these missiles or who was releasing them, but Blaze popping 3 and taking 104th to the tentative victory over inSky. They still got to land, but I don't think fuel at this point is going to be any factor when they're RTBing back to Kataisi. And I'd like to point out, Mustache Man, Ned, that
I was waiting for
Kataisi has seemingly come out on top. So we were just shooting holes all through your theory.
Appreciate it, 104th. Way to ruin my theory now. My stats are out the window. I'm not going to get any funding from Moltar for my board.
Sorry. No sponsor funding coming from SATAL.
Better make sure the theories work before I can actually get the equipment, right? And it looks like they're merging up for a fallen man formation.
Yeah, I think we're going to see a very similar egress away from the AO like we did in the first fight. Iron Mike's given, I think, an arcing rejoin. He's climbed to marking. I think we're going to see another, instead of 5-ship wedge, though, this time we're going to see a 6-ship.
That is quite nice. And credit to inSky, 104th, a hell of a year by both teams. Definitely hard fought matches across the board. I think we saw a lot of progress out of both teams. This was a good year for both these groups. They deserve a lot of credit for getting here and putting on as good of a show as they did.
Aviation Disc 55. Yeah, all the giveaways that were listed by Moltbot are giveaways for the viewers. That is all stuff that's coming here, probably at the conclusion of the finals when we're talking to Heapler for their interview on the Tomcat. So it's all stuff. That is all stuff for the viewers. None of that is going to the contestants or the participants in SATAL. It's all going to the viewership. So be looking forward to that.
Awesome. And like we were saying earlier, if you're one of those guys out there, you haven't for whatever reason got your hands on an F-14 module yet or hadn't pre-ordered, today's your day. You got a lot of opportunities now from now to the end of the day today to get your hands on one of those. So definitely make sure you're hanging around the Twitch there and watching out because today is definitely the day for that.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. We've got the giveaways here today that include all of the modules, all of the hardware, all that stuff. We've got Bullet saying during his stream after the completion of the finals that he's going to give one away. We've got your carrier catching event that's coming on later that you're giving at least one away, and then the winner of that event's getting one. So today is Tomcat Day.
It is.
October 27th. Let it go down in DCS history. It is Tomcat Day.
Sure, certainly.
Mel 12345, thanks for the host, buddy. Hopefully your stream went well this morning. I saw you on teaching people. Guys, if you don't know Mel, he's an awesome, effectively instructor pilot for DCS. He's on a lot of mornings. You can always drop in, ask him a question. He's always more than happy to answer. Shout outs to you, buddy. You do a great job for the DCS community.
Absolutely, and certainly, people like him. That's it's not like people are picking up Fortnite here. There's a learning curve to this game,
Fortnite.
and people like people like Mel certainly help out.
Can you imagine DCS with Fortnite? Being able to build walls and having like different gliders and skins. All the planes would the pilots would jump out and do the floss on the runway. Or when they're parachuting, we get to see him falling doing the floss.
Oh man, there's so many people in the chat
Orange
just
Justice and stuff.
internally
Oh my
right
god.
now.
Probably all the chat, because DCS is more of a mature demographic. People are just like my fucking kids. God, I can't stand them doing all this shit.
Three fucking kid dances one more time. No, but like I said, I think what people like Mel do out there as far as getting on the Twitch and being there, being available to answer questions, I think is so valuable, so important. I know when I first found DCS, there were so many people that reached out to me, or I reached out to, that really kind of helped me learn and understand what was going on here. And I think that's so important, for the guys that do have a lot of knowledge, that have been putting the time and the hours in here to give back as much as possible. Because the more people we bring into this community and help develop and become better pilots, the more entertaining I think it will be for everybody, and the more we'll see, whether it be ED or whether it be some of these other third-party developers, the more people we bring in, the more we can hopefully expect these companies to grow. And I know there's probably some arguments to that out there, but I think at the end of the day, the more we focus on bringing new people in and helping them figure things out adequately is in everybody's best interest.
Just watching these guys RTB, and give us a couple seconds to catch up on everything that's going down in chat. I gotta scroll down. Give me 1 second. Sorry if I missed some of your guys' bits, but Yaga drops 104 bits. Disable Gamer, thanks for the follow. Maximus, thanks for the follow. Fax92, thanks for the follow. T-Mux, yeah. Keeper 13013, thanks for the follow, and Winter Halo, thank you for the follow. And to catch back up on bits, Bullet 2501 dropped 16 bits and says F14. Man, I'm so hyped for the F14. Kami drops 5 bits. Warlock 5 bits. Bullet drops another bit. It says Wolf. I don't think I've got one of my dogs behind me. Bullet drops another 104. I'm assuming that's coming from the 104th tentative victory. And CVW 8 Jazzy. Is that one of your homies? Dropping 10 bits,
yes,
and says, let's go Capsu for the win in that badass Hornet. Sorry, Moltar. Right. Nice job, 104th. It's all good. You can tell me to go fuck myself for all I care.
Oh, man. And Microvax making a solid point here on my airport, we were referring to as theory, and he claims it's a hypothesis at best, which I'd probably have to agree with him there. So let's officially change. We'll officially change that to the airbase hypotheses in regards to SATAL. No longer a theory.
Right. What, your Sochi Kataisi?
Indeed.
No, it's just full of shit. That's all that is.
Once again, there's a little bit more to it.
There is nothing to it.
It's DCS astrology, guys. I'm gonna do it. It's voodoo magic, but at the end of the day, there's something to it.
Whatever floats your boat and makes you feel like you're contributing.
Well, there's people out there who believe in the hypothesis. I know that. I get the messages. I see you guys. Don't worry, I'm not giving up on it.
.104th RTB and with the 6th ship back to Kataisi, who I just want to reiterate won over Sochi again. Just saying.
in this match, yes.
Oh, okay. In this match,
we'll see. We'll get a
guys.
tally
I just want to point out that to Billy, facts don't seemingly matter. He just kind of makes up his own.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie.
But in Billy's case, all the numbers are make-believe.
That is true. I won't argue that one bit.
So we're just watching 106 RTB. Their sixth ship is coming back to Kataisi, being led by Iron Mike. And if they put him down, they clinch third place. But like I said earlier, due to ineligibility of the 51st and 104th, they will be ineligible for prizes. So because of that, we already knew who was going to win the prizes, with SF taking the first place prize and inSky taking the second place prize. So first place prizes were 6 Keepler modules, 500 euros, and 6 pro licenses of TACView. Second place prizes were 6 Keepler modules and 3 TACView pro licenses.
I heard you reference Jazzy earlier. I didn't realize he donated all those bits.
Yeah.
Jazzy, thank you very much, man. I appreciate the support. Absolutely. I like seeing the support from the CDW8 guys. That's awesome. TACView, yeah, we were talking about that a little bit earlier. Hopefully next year we might be able to work out a way to be able to tap into those squadron comms. That way we can kind of give people a little bit more insight as to what's going on internally there. So hopefully we can figure out a good method for that.
Assuming they're going to be doing a break here soon. Man, look how big the flanker is in that six-man formation.
It is quite nice. I think this is, I'm not sure if it was the first time we had no third round of a playoff match. I think almost every playoff match has gone 3 rounds.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe with the exception of one on the opening weekend, but it's been very hard fought matches this whole way through. So we got the last one coming up here for all the marbles, everybody.
Well, SF1 already got all the marbles. This is more for egos.
The proverbial marbles, the pride.
I'm just kind of excited I get to get something to eat between matches.
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. I'm kind of looking forward to making myself a big old sandwich.
To recap here, ladies and gentlemen, Billy will be streaming the second match, the finals, with Iron Mike, because I'm going to have to fly with 51st. So it'll still be on this channel. We ran into some issues both with him streaming and me streaming last week, so I think we've gotten a lot of that fixed. It seems like we haven't had any issues with this.
We're smooth.
But again,
seems to be really good.
It's going to be on a 5-minute delay. So just a heads up that we're doing that just to make sure that there's no possible way of having accusations of stream sniping or cheating or anything like that. So 5-minute delay. We don't normally run one, but that's where that's coming from. So there will be one for the finals. I'm going to try. We may shut down the stream after the finals to get rid of the delay for the interview. I think we might do that. Might be a good idea. But we're just watching these guys RTB here. Back to Kataisi, and if one guy puts his wheels down, that'll be it.
And like I said, hard-fought season to both these teams. This was an impressive year for each just to make it this far. And shout out to the GCIs for each of these teams. I think both guys did a good job, trying to keep the pieces moved around today.
Just waiting for these guys to finish RTB, and looks like Mogas is going to be the first one to come off base on the finals. Saw Marie is just telling me to go fuck myself. Even Shad is getting in on the action.
Hey, you put your foot in the door like that, they're going to pry the damn thing wide open. You know that.
Evidently. It's all right. I probably deserved it.
Don't we both?
But I think this is it. I think this is it for round 2, and I'm going to see if we can get one of the 104th guys in here for an interview to talk about what they did, what everything went well.
Awesome.
I'm assuming it's going to be Alex. Maybe
I love
Stooge.
hearing from the guys after the match. It's always nice to get a little insight from the guys who are flying in.
I'm glad we started doing that.
Me too. I think it really helps people, get a better feeling for what they just saw when you can actually hear it from the point of view of the guy who was in the jet, or from the guy who was moving the pieces around. I think that definitely helps.
Yep, Mogas landed. I don't see any notification that he died, so that's all she wrote. 104th officially takes third place.
Also, we should probably get a good talk to some of these squadrons as far as the off season goes and figure out which ones, if I would assume a lot of these are going to be recruiting and so on and so forth, and maybe get some of the recruiting schedules for some of these groups up, so people who are out there watching right now who've been progressing are like, hey, maybe I want to get involved with this, Well,
and I also want to
these people
reiterate that there's the possibility that we may be doing an amateur league, meaning that a lower league below the premiership, to try and get some of these newer squadrons or the smaller squadrons that really haven't had a lot of experience with DCS competitive play. Because I know it can be kind of intimidating to feel like you're going to come in and compete against SF or 104th or 51st, because they've been doing it for a long time. So we've been talking about doing a lower league, which there's nothing wrong with it, but to try and to lower the entry for these teams to have something to compete in, because I feel like this is something that brings a lot to DCS, that gives everybody an event to look forward to, and it gives us something else to stream, honestly.
Absolutely. And I think that'll be good. I think that'll end up making the product we get, for a day like today, it's going to benefit greatly from that, because now not only do the teams in the Premier League aspect of it, there's now a heightened sense of we have to perform and play at a much higher level. Otherwise, we'll end up in that lower league. And I think for any of these teams that are already playing in the Premier, you don't want to have that happen. You don't want to show that regression like that. And I think, just adding that whole element in, I think is going to create a much more entertaining product for everybody watching.
Yeah, for sure. Creedle commenting on my fourth place deserving shirt for its stretched out collar. I'm just styling, man. You're just mad that you don't have the dad bod with the stretched out collar. That's what you're upset about.
I do want to point out my awesome it's not a Hebler F14 shirt, but I am repping my F14 shirt today. I don't know how everyone can see it, but it's there. I figured I'd represent as strong as I could.
What do you think, while I'm getting the TAC set up, what brought 104th out on top in that?
Well, like I said, I think they did a good job of being aggressive and keeping the front line as filled. I mean, it seemed like every time I looked, there was a solid 3 to 4 fighters from 104th close, pressing up around where inSky was. And I just don't know if inSky kept up with 104th as well as they needed to in that second round there. It seemed like once they lost the first or second fighter, it really just kind of went downhill quick for them, which is understandable.
Connected.
So, you have to think 104th really came out and did what they had planned to do from the start. I think at the end of the day, they executed better than inSky. Not saying that inSky didn't bring it today, but they definitely were not able to execute, I think, their plan as well as 104th was.
Right. So let's jump into the TAC view here real quick.
User joined your channel.
What's up, Alex? How are
guys?
You? Congratulations.
Indeed.
We're gonna watch the TAC view unfold while, if you don't mind taking us through how everything went down here. I was shocked that you were flying.
I was shocked too, man. Spade unfortunately couldn't make it because of work, and we were down one pilot, and I said, okay, I'm gonna jump in. I wasn't supposed to. It felt wrong a little bit throughout the match to fly myself, but I'm actually, it was good fun. So
we didn't die.
I'm happy. No, I didn't.
Well, you guys only suffered one casualty, and that was to Stooge ripping his wings off.
Yeah.
So in essence,
that's correct.
None of your guys got shot down. It was just done by one of you guys', I'm going to take a jab at Stooge's ineptitude in the flanker.
That's exactly it all up.
So if you don't,
but on a serious note, I want to congratulate inSky for a very well fought match. I mean, they did a great job. They ran a nice patience game, but we were just a little bit more patient, I would say.
Yeah, what we reiterated in the stream is that you guys seem to see their mistake and then capitalize on that mistake. Therefore throwing the fight into your court for the remainder of the duration.
Yeah, they were very opportune today, no doubt about it. You can see it from up top.
We definitely ran a much more relaxed game this time with enough spacing, and the main thing is, at the end, some of us landed with 8,000 or more pounds of fuel and 5
way.
Wow.
Yeah, like I had, I think, 5 missiles left.
Wow.
Some others had 4. On the first match as well, we had like 3 or 4 missiles left and plenty of fuel among ourselves. But it's really the thing of like not falling for it, not going for it, because they're gonna turn cold anyway. And we've seen guy fight a very defensive game throughout the thing, which is a great thing. But then, like I said, last time, where 51st, it took them a round to get on that. It's like when they give you the gap, then you got to push into it, and that worked really nicely today. And I'm very happy. It's a proud day for us. We started off really shit this year. There's no other word to describe it.
Yeah.
We were really down, and the new guys especially, fought themselves back up, and really did a great job here to end up on the podium. Unfortunately, we missed the finals, but also here last time I missed the interview because we were a bit beat down and debriefing and stuff. But congrats to SF again for the win last week. Had a chance to say that publicly yet. That was a really well fought match by them, and they really deserve it, and so does the 51st. So I think we're all looking forward to a really great final match here. It's been a joyride so far, and thanks from the 104th to everybody, for your support in the chat, in the stream, and of course special thanks to Maverick for being an outstanding GCI, and all our pilots that flew, Fallen, Spade, Stooge, Blaze, Mustang, Mogas, and I think that's all of them.
Now, was there any, before we wrap this up, did you guys do any planning or have any idea of how you wanted to take it to inSky? Did you guys want to outweight them, or were you just were you going to outweight them until they made a mistake and then switch gears and go into an aggressive approach?
Yeah, well, we just really went in with a patient game in mind. We knew that we need to conserve missiles. We knew that we need to conserve fuel. So what we did a lot was just mock fights. We didn't even fire a missile. They just saw, the F-15 crank on them, and they went defensive too. And we always had somebody who could be turned in a second when some of us turned cold. So we boxed them, and on the first round they were so laid back in a way that we just kept rolling it into them, box in, box out, box in, box out, because if we wouldn't have got close enough to them, then at least we would have pushed them out of the bubble for sure.
Right.
They were very close to that, so we just kept the pressure rolling in a circle on them. Pressure on, pressure off, pressure on, pressure off, and just increasing it notch by notch with each round. So in the end, it got very pressured then.
Right. Well, I'll let you go celebrate with your team. It was a pleasure watching you guys throughout the year. I think a lot of what came down to was it was just your guys, especially the new guys, getting more experience as the year went on, and you could safely and easily see that as they got more experience and got more comfortable in a high-stress competitive environment, that your team relaxed, and it became much easier for them to compete at a high level. So huge shout-outs to them for, you guys may have not, like you said, started out on a good foot for this year, but you guys ended on a really good note.
Absolutely, and I'm especially happy for all the new guys who are in and who are in for this for the first time, and who get this great event at the end. That we finish on the podium, and I think third place is a really great place. All good things come in three, so we're already, I think, in a very nice company here, and I'm very glad, to share this experience then with you and the SF, no matter how it ends, so may the better guy win between you two. I wish you best of fun for that, and I hope you both of you kick asses. We really enjoy seeing you fly, and we're gonna look forward to it. And to all the viewers, thank you for being here. We're gonna talk later again anyway, but in the meantime already, massive thanks to everybody.
Well, thanks, Iron Mike. I think we're going to wrap this round 1 up. And how this is going to work is I'm going to shut this stream down because I've got to go brief with the 51st guys. Billy's going to bring his stream up. We're going to go on a delay, on another 5-minute delay, so it'll be a few minutes before the next one comes up. We're going to put a countdown on. It'll probably be around 40 minutes just so you guys have something to idle. But the next match is scheduled to start at 1800 Zulu. And
Hey, wake
Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, but after the completion of that match, regardless of how it goes, we're going to have Keepler on for an interview to talk about the Tomcat. We've got Tomcat modules to give away, at least one. We've got tons of other stuff to give away, and it's going to be a good time, right? Is there anything I'm missing?
Yeah. No, if nothing major comes in between in the development kitchen, then Cobra's going to come along to congratulate the winners. And one more lucky viewer is going to get an F-14 Tomcat, plus all the other stuff you managed to get as sponsors, Malta. You know, great job for that. And yeah, we're very much looking forward to a resolution of this great year SATAL. I mean, it's been a joyride so far, and one more exciting match is coming here, guys. So stay tuned. Come back in 45 minutes for the next match. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a blast, and it is really good being part of this. So thank you all again for this.
Yep. Thanks, Iron Mike. Congratulations again on your win. And we'll see you back here with Billy here in about 45 minutes.
Absolutely. Yep. Congrats, Iron Mike. Looking forward to it.
All right, guys.
Thanks, Billy.
Well, that's it that we've got for round 1. We're going to shut this down. We'll be back for round 2 in about 45 minutes. The stream will come back up with the waiting screen, so look for that and stick around because it's going to be another great match. We've got a lot of stuff to give away, so we'll see you guys back here in a bit. Until then, see you guys later.
See ya.